Hi, I'm Bob Alsop with ShopSabre CNC. Around here they call me Routerbob. In this video, we're going to make a neat project out of styrofoam, and we're going to use the tangential knife option on our IS 408. Let's get started. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Routerbob.
This machine has a knife option. I'd really like to do a video showing what that does. You got any ideas?
Well, we've cut dinosaurs out of 1/2-inch Baltic birch. What do you think about doing one out of foam?
Well, that's a great idea. There's lots of curves, there's inside cuts. The knife's really good for that. That 4x4 nest produces about the right size. We would only have to open the slots up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I can get you the thickness of the material.
Oh, well, let's get it done then.
Sounds good.
We're going to be using an option that's referred to as a tangential knife. And let's talk about what the term tangential means, and then maybe you can understand what's going on here. All right. So to start with, here's a circle and a line. For a line to be tangent to a circle, it can touch at one and only one point. So in this instance here, that can't be tangent, it's not touching, and that can't be tangent because it's touching at 2 points. So there's only one position. And if I draw a line from that tangency point to the center of the circle, that forms a 90-degree angle. So that's what tangential means. Now, how does that relate to what we're doing? Now I've eliminated some of the geometry here. What this represents is the knife, and this would be the knife edge. So in this position, that edge is always at the tangency point. Now, as the geometry changes, the knife rotates to always maintain that relationship. That's what the tangential knife function does. Now, there's actually two versions of these tangential heads. One of them we'll be using today has a knife, and the knife is used in two methods. For one, depending on the material, the knife may just be rigid and it just may follow the shape around and cut the material. In our case, we're going to be cutting 3/4-inch styrofoam, so we need the knife to oscillate up and down. Then there's another head that actually has just a creasing roll, and that's primarily used for box making. Now, this is the actual 4x4 nest of our parts. Before we get started on it, let's talk about how we set the knife tool up in VCarve. So we'll go to Tool Paths and we'll go to Tool Database. And I've selected knife, and it's an end mill. It doesn't really matter what diameter it is because we're going to be doing a center line cut. The RPMs don't matter. Feed rate does matter. We're going to be cutting at 150 inches a minute. And once again, that's determined by the material. And sometimes you just have to do sample cuts. All right, so we'll close that. All right, this is a nest. This is 4 feet by 4 feet. This produces the right size dinosaur. But the original nest was created for 1/2-inch material, so I have to convert the width of the slots to 0.7 because that's the width of our foam. Now, all of them are done, but I left one to show you how you do it. Now, if it's just a minor change, sometimes you can scale it till it's right, but in our case, it's too much of a change. So here's how I do that in VCar Pro. I start with, there's the part. It's all connected. It's one unit. Now, let's start over here. Let's draw a line, and just anywhere out like this. Angle doesn't matter. Okay, then we'll come over here, and we'll use the trim tool. We'll trim the ends. And what I want to do is establish a straight line. There's a natural midpoint here, and there's a natural midpoint here. All right? Then once I get that done, I select this, hit the node editor. Then I come out here, and what I really want to do is, if I hover over that and hit C, that's going to cut that line here, and I want to cut it probably right here. All right? When that cuts those, then I can delete that. All right? So that gets rid of the old geometry, and I've got enough information here now to rebuild it. So I'm going to take this line, I'm going to offset it. I like to let VCarve do the math. So the material thickness is 0.7, but I need half of that divided by 2 and hit equal, and it calculates it for me, and hit offset. And there's my new width. Okay, we're going to connect this from here to here. That's the end of it. All right, that looks good. Now let's get rid of what we don't need. We don't need those anymore. And finally, here's the tricky part, is extending this. Now, you select this and be real careful when you pick that geometry and you see it'll fix it right here. And there you go. So what that did was actually it extended both of them until they form a corner. Right now, I want to select those and make sure they're all joined together. So I've selected them all. I hit the join tool. What I'm looking for is everything is one closed geometry. Okay, and then the last thing I need to do is to put these radiuses, and you use the radius tool. The fillet will be 0.25. Move that over till you see the check mark. Move that over till you see the check mark. And that's how I modify the geometry. I want to show you a little tip here sometimes on setting tool depth. Now, when you're using the knife, you always set the depth at the material thickness. Let me show you how you get there. Sometimes you have weird material thicknesses. If you put in Z, which is a variable for thickness, and equal, VCar Pro calculates that for you. So that's a nice little tip. And because of the way the tool is set up, let's get rid of these. We just really need one pass on this. All right, so now that looks pretty good. Nothing else is really required. We hit calculate, and there's our tool path. And let's zoom in on this a little bit. And when we run simulation, we should see it. And there they are. That looks great. So we validated the geometry in the tool path with simulation. Perfect. We've completed our tool pass. Everything looks good in simulation. Let's send these files out to CNC Sean, and let's cut out a Styrofoam Triceratops.
All right, I got the file from Routerbob. This is going to be really straightforward, real easy to do. We're only going to need one tool. It's an E25 solid carbide knife blade from Ecocam. We're going to cut 3/4 inch foam. This is a 1-inch blade. It's going to work great. All we got to do now is get started.
Sean, how did the Triceratops come out?
Tell you what, Routerbob, I'm really impressed with that knife. It cut really smooth. We've got some tight radius corners up here. They look great. Nice sharp inside corners. Pretty impressed.
That was really a good choice for a product, but you know what impresses me the most? How little adding that capability to your CNC router is.
Yeah, and it opens up the possibilities to cut a lot more material.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you need more information, you can contact us at ShopSabre.com.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you for watching.